to Let's Talk Real Estate and some stuff. I am Brandon, and I'm BP, aka the MHP operator, and I am
Mhm.
my co-host for the day, Carlos Zamora with Carrot and Investor Views. If you don't know Carrot and Investor Views, they are the top CRM and website lead generation tool in the wholesale and real estate investing space. Go check them out. Like and subscribe to our channel. We do this for the benefit of you, the people. We are magnanimous with our time to make sure we're bringing you the funniest stuff going on in the market today. We got 5 days till Christmas, so we're doing a pre-Christmas episode here, talking about the end of the year, real estate, what's going on in the market and the world. Carlos, it looks like some interest rate stuff going on. People are fearing a recession. I got more realtors now saying on my Instagram feed saying buy your house now
Surprising.
before the recession happens. They never miss a beat, do they?
No, there's always when you're looking at data, there's always ways that you could frame it. I feel like being positive or negative, or pulling certain sets of data that make your case positive or negative. But yeah, realtors always seem to find a good time to sell, isn't it?
The,
Sell and buy.
they I was writing. I was writing this article, right, and I was researching some realtor stuff, and I found it hilarious that because I was looking at single family homes, and all these realtors like buy a home, buy a home, buy a home. Do you know only like 22% of realtors actually own any type of investment property?
I would assume it would be less than that.
Yeah, well,
No, I guess that makes sense. No, an investment property. No, I could see that. Maybe less though.
yeah, it's pretty wild. Like when they're your person guiding you on buying the biggest investment in your life, and they don't even use it as an investment,
Right.
it's the thing. But you know, and then I found this funny too when we're talking about like buying homes. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I saw a guy talking about single family houses. Um, and he was like, "Here are the best like top 5 cities or college towns to buy rentals in." And he was like, this city 300K rent rate is like 1800 or 1900. I'm thinking like, dude, how do people even make these numbers work? In
Mhm.
today's with the pricing today and the interest rates today, it becomes harder and harder to make buying a home even feasible for yourself, but also as a rental option. Back in the day, there used to be this thing where like, hey, if I buy this home, it doesn't work out, worst case scenario, I can rent it out, which is how a lot of people get into the rental game. I have a couple buddies who did that. They got moved for their job, they kept their old home, they rented it out. You can't do that nowadays. Like
Mhm.
even you buy now with a 6.5% rate, it, or I guess maybe people are fearing they're going back up, but I mean, let's just say 6.5 to 7% rate. I mean, a $200,000 home before mortgage, insurance, premium, all that stuff, assuming a 20% down payment. I mean, you're looking at like 1,200, 1,300 bucks once you start adding on taxes and insurance. Um, if you don't put down 20K or 20%, I mean, you're looking at closer to like 16 to 1,700 dollars a month all in, on a home. And if rent rates are only like 1,800 bucks or below, I mean, you're pretty SOL.
Mhm.
So it's like people are saying buy your home now. I just don't see it. I think as long as people are doing that, prices will never come down.
I have a buddy that bought a civilian, not in real estate,
Just
bought a house. Yeah, Civ. Um, Also, by the way, I need you as my hype man. Just walking around in life. That's solid.
I got you, bro.
But buddy of mine is civilian. Just for a quick like kind of like numbers, he bought a house a little bit north of me, 10 minutes north of where I'm at. I think it's Buena Vista is the neighborhood, North Miami. Think of it. I don't remember the exact numbers. I think he put 10% down, but essentially there's a, I don't know if it's technically a 2 unit. It may be, but
Mm,
he's able to Airbnb out the larger part of the
yeah,
house and stay in the smaller part of the house.
yeah,
Even in doing that, it's not, he's still paying more than what he rents here in my neighborhood.
I agree.
So like now
Makes
that he's like in his first month of doing that, he's like, oh man, he's like, and he likes to travel and stuff. Has a partially remote job. He's like, oh man, even if I Airbnb both sides and everything, he's like, it's still. He's understanding he didn't pencil out to be like a great investment. Like, but that play,
families are the worst investment you can make. Yeah,
exactly.
they're horrible. They
Yeah.
are. So I wrote this article, and my closing line was the buying single family rentals is a middle class thing. The rich don't buy them. The rich and the wealthy buy commercial real estate. Single family houses were never intended to be a real estate investment vehicle. They were not meant to be an efficient real estate investment vehicle. Yes, they could provide you some income if you happen to move and you wanted to keep it. Could it do a little bit for you, but not what people are looking for. And to scale that, it's just so inefficient. And even in today's stuff, like, I think buying a home to live in is a bad choice coming from a homeowner. I think there's a lot more to it that people don't even think about.
Yeah.
And I think your buddy had the right idea, though. Like, if you're going to do it, like if you're the person who says, I don't care about it, like I want to own my own home, I want to own something, it's just who you are, that's fine. But buying something with an extra unit makes the most sense. Buying a duplex or with an ADU or an in-law in the back makes the most sense. If you're going to do it, at least do it smart.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't sit there and say that that is the best use. This is not your highest and best use of your money if your goal is to make money. If your goal is to own a home, have somewhere to live that you own, and not make money, then yeah, I mean, the best thing you could do to protect your investment is by having that second unit or something with you. I mean, buying a home is a freaking trap, bro, especially in today's market. It's wildly expensive between the repairs, the stuff you have to do, insurance. It's not cheap. I mean, and now look at your buddy. Like, think about this. If he likes to travel, you own a home. Like, dude, you're strapped, dude. Like, you're strapped. You rent? Boom. Peace out. It's in an apartment. It's not your house. You don't really care what happens to it. You can leave at any time. Finish off your lease. Move. Can't do that with a house, dude. You can't do that with a house. You might lose money. It's just not efficient.
He has the same idea of a lot of people. What persuade them of going against that logic, which I agree with, of
what?
Oh man, I hate paying money to a landlord versus putting money in equity. Which you are building equity, but also when you're renting, you have fixed costs. Like, you know what you're putting out every month. You know what you're spending every month. Which, with a house, anything can happen.
Yeah, there is no extra, right? And so I get it. Like, a lot of people say, oh, I'm paying off my landlord's mortgage. Well, not really. Like, yeah, you are, but there's so much more that I have to pay for the property than just my mortgage, right? And it's like the things add up. So if you
especially in Florida,
right? And it's like, yeah, I don't want to pay my landlord's mortgage, but there's a cost benefit to that. Yeah, I give money and I don't own anything, but I have freedom. I have this fixed price. I could go find something better. Like, so right now, like, I refuse to move. I just do. Like, I am the opposite of my advice, because I cater when I have money. Two, I want my own space. I don't really care. I didn't buy it to make money. I bought it so I could just have it. I don't care. Problem is my family's grown. Do you know how hard it is now to go find? I'd have to sell this place, go find something else. You know what I mean? I'd have to fix this up to sell it, right? Because I bought it a decade ago. So people don't recognize that a decade ago it was nice, but now it's outdated. And it's like, you know how hard it is to we did a bathroom. You know how hard it is to rehab while you're living in it? It's not easy. And so, but if I rented and I needed an extra bedroom, cool, find another rental. You know what I mean? Like, I could just get up and go. Owning my house, it becomes a lot more difficult to just do that. It's a harder rationalization to get up and go do something like that, in my opinion, anyway. That's why I'm not a big fan of single family, but not just from the living in it aspect. And I know Grant gets a lot of grief for that. Like, you know, Grant, I mean, he, what do you call it? Popularized that whole thing. And at first I didn't agree with him, because obviously I own my own home. I bought my first house when I was like 26 for me and my family. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I grew up with my dad, my parents. Like, you buy your home, and then like you get into home ownership, and then it's paint, and then it's like appliances, and then it's a septic, and then it's a well, and then it's a pipe, and then it's a roof, and then it's an AC. And bro, like, that shit adds up, man. And you better have $20,000 in your pocket for that 3,000 square foot roof that you need to put on architectural shingle with 30-year lifespan. You know what I mean? Like, you better have that, because if not, now you're going to go pull equity line of credit out of your home if you have any. And now your payments are going up. It's
a two wholesalers market too. Part of who they
yeah.
market too.
I mean, like, my neighbor just did that. Like, they bought a house, the house next door. Anyway, long story short, they wanted to update it, right? And like, what do? Pull out a line of credit. COVID came, got a bunch of equity, and pulled it out. But like, that's smart. I get it. But the problem that people don't understand is you did that today, right? Let's just say you do it 2024, and you ate all your equity. Now your payment's higher. Okay. Well, how long do you think you're going to live there? 5 years, 10 years? Let's say you live 5 to 10 years in that house. Well, now it's outdated again. It'd be the equivalent of us buying a 2012 home. Do you know what homes look like in 2012, Carlos? Do you remember? Because you were wholesaling and shit. Do you remember the tan and brown atrocities that happened inside of homes? It was the most atrocious. And back then we all loved it. Dark wood cabinets, dark like brown shit tile, at least down in Florida, right? Dark cherry woods and like chocolate cabinets and like the granite with like the little poop stains on them. And like you would use like bronze and like dark oil color like fixtures everywhere. And it just felt like you were in some like Renaissance like freaking cavern. And like you see photos of those and people were paying top dollar. But now 10 years later, everyone's like, that needs to be gutted. I need to paint the cabinets, new countertops. I need new floors. I need new bathroom. And so that's what happens, is like, it's a constant need for upgrading your home, which is why when I was a realtor, I told people, like, let's just be clear. You don't update your home to add value to it. You update your home to add value to your life. What you're doing is just taking care of your home. You can't expect it to add value, because the value that you've added, you are going to use every year. So let's just say there's a certain life expectancy to the value of the upgrades that you've done. And let's say it's 10 years. Every year that you live there, you eat away at the value till eventually you're going into the negative, which is where wholesalers come in. When homes go past the added value stage and they start to be detrimental to the home itself and the sale process. And so that's the thing, dude. It's a never-ending battle with owning a home, which is why I started to agree with Graham. And I started to really think about it. And like, I wish somebody would have told me that when I was like 25. I probably would have bought a duplex instead, or a quad, and lived in that, and at least had some type of income coming in from it. So
the commercial investments being better. I had dinner with a guy, David Bachman, a longtime Investor Fuse guy from Philly. You may know him. He's like a big Muay Thai MMA guy.
They started Aviato. Yeah.
Aubrey Marcus guy. No, not Aviato, not on Silicon Valley. But he, like, even when he back in the day, he would wholesale different commercial deals in Philadelphia. And he was like, dude, it's the same thing as wholesaling single family, just there might be more people involved or more brokers involved, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
It is. I've never wholesaled a commercial. I don't wholesale my mobile home parks or anything, but it's like, they're commercial real estate.
You buy from wholesalers though.
I do, 100%.
So you're involved in commercial wholesale transactions.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. But it's like,
and you've had the opportunity to wholesale the one.
I have, yes. And it's like, you look at it and you say commercial. It's why the wealthy buy commercial and the rich people buy commercial. It's because they understand the game of real estate. One, it's depreciation. Mobile home parks and things like that provide much better depreciation than a single family house does, just because of its personal property classification. But it's like, it's scalability, right? Offsite management capability, right? And it's ease of management. So what do you have to do to it? Office space, triple N leases, industrial, triple N, you know what I mean? You're doing these triple net leases where you're not responsible for stuff. A lot of times you're passing off taxes and insurance costs onto the tenant. It's a different thing. Mobile home parks are different than industrial or office or anything like that, but the same concept, right? Infinitely scalable. It's much more friendly for hands-off management. Single family homes aren't. And that's where I think wholesalers are just dumb, is because they're golden handcuffed to single family houses all the time because it's all they know. So like you see all these wholesalers, they're the stupidest people ever when it comes to like knowing what to invest in. They think that because they make a lot of money wholesaling houses that the next thing they should do is buy houses. Well, dude, if you're really making all that money, you shouldn't buy the most inefficient vehicle that's out there for investment. You should put that money into something like commercial real estate because it has better appreciation, it has better management, it has better scalability, and it has better long-term viability. There's always going to be a use for it. A home is always going out of date. The beauty about commercial is typically the tenants will rehab it for you and update it to their liking. Every tenant's going to change the layout to it. And it's a much better vehicle. And so you have wholesalers who believe their own lies when they sell them to people. You have realtors who do it, and you have it's just it's a racket that I don't agree with, I guess is all I'm trying to say. So greatest lie told to America is to get rich is to buy rentals.
For someone that argues in favor of single family investing, what potential positives would they have? Like if you're playing devil advocate against yourself, the only ones I could think of are entry into deals might be easier because a
100%.
single family seller aren't as savvy. It's easier just from a mental standpoint of like numbers, more
Yes.
accessible deals and inventory.
Yes.
I'm assuming by
Yes.
a significant margin.
There's two reasons, and these are the only. Anyone who votes yes for it is two things. One, they're either selling you something about it, or two, they bought their houses back in 2010, 15, 17 before the appreciation. Because back then you could get rich off of single family houses because of how they appreciated in the last decade. But and interest rates were low and yada yada yada.
Is the BRRRR dead too? I've been seeing people say that.
I mean, it just depends on where you're at. I mean, BRRRR in single family, yeah, but I mean, I do technically do a BRRRR strategy in mobile home parks. We just don't call it BRRRR. But two reasons. Single family houses have, it's called, everything that you listed would fall under one category, low barrier to entry. You could buy it with a conventional loan. You could do it with 20% down. You can use your realtor to show you the one that sold you your house. You can use to show you this. The same mortgage broker could get you on this that sold you, did the mortgage on your house. The same bank. You go down to your local credit union, get a loan. It's just easier. Like you said, the deals are more prevalent. I don't know if I agree with like, yeah, you just get a better price, maybe because sellers, but either way, it's just a lower barrier to entry. So it's easier to wrap your head around it. So we tend to gravitate to what's easier, which is why it's a middle class American trap, because it's easier for the middle class American to do that. Now, devil's advocate, I love single family as a store. Single family is like gold. It's a store of value. Someone's always going to need a place to live. It's a great place to store your money as long as you don't expect cash flow and easiness. Okay. To get rid of the easiness, you pass it off to a manager, but still, you're not going to cash flow off that thing. You breaking even and you're going to capitalize on the appreciation. But to sell a house is a lot easier than to sell an industrial space.
Yeah.
So you buy them as gold, these gold bricks that you could sell when you need money or get loans out or refi. It's a lot easier to go refi that than it is a big commercial space. The process is much more intensive when doing things like that than it is just going down to your local credit union or going on to like, loan.com or Loan Depot or something. It's a much more liquid market. So it's a great store of value. But again, like, I saw somebody, a big guru, posted about how like the secret to getting rich is to buy one house every year until you scale to 20. That's a fucking lie, dude. That's not how to get rich. Rich don't get rich that way. It's like, one, do you know how hard it would be to manage 20 effing rentals? Like, one, it's hard enough to find one home that's a good rental, let alone two that's on the same street in the same neighborhood in the same zip code. You buy 20 homes, they're going to be all over the place. Now, maybe for them, it might have been good because, again, they're in the business. This is their job. They manage it. You know what I mean? It's a lot different, and they're buying them at huge discounted prices. Your regular average person isn't doing that, and they have a job to work, and now they got to manage these other rental properties all over the place. Single-family houses are the worst investment you can make when it comes to rentals. It is a lie that was perpetrated because of the low barrier to entry and because it's easier to make money off of that for realtors They make more. A realtor will make more money typically than the owner of the property if the realtor manage it. A realtor, single family houses typically return between 6 and 8%. A realtor gets 10% management fee. Makes more. That's why they only own 22% in my mind. I mean, there's no facts backing that up, but yeah, I get it. Why own it when you just manage it and make more money than the person who owns it? So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I think anybody who. So if you look at people like that guy who does the podcast with the 11 out of 10 podcast with Robert, right? He owns a shit ton of rentals. So did he get rich doing it? Yeah, but look when he bought them. You know what I mean? Like,
is that guy still buying now though? It sounds like he is.
He probably is. But again, he's already rich buying more, but then you have to go hormones on him. Couldn't you make even more money with your skill set doing something that plays bigger? Because that house, no matter the other thing, there's no reward for effort in a single family house. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the best landlord. You could run the most he could have the best back office, streamline automations, everything processes. You know what I mean? He's using all the cool softwares to do everything. Nobody gives a shit. That house will only ever be worth as much as the house down the road that's comparable to it. So you get no reward for being a good landlord. You get no reward for your late nights or charging the most rents or getting the best tenants. Whereas with commercial, you do, because it's valued based on net operating income. Whereas single family houses are valued based on market comparables. So it's like, if you're that good, why wouldn't you do something else? Why wouldn't you buy something that's more efficient and better structured to be what you're trying to do anyway? Like an apartment complex. An apartment complex is much better than buying 50 apartments is better than buying 50 houses. Buying one mobile home park with 50 mobile homes on it is better than buying 50 houses. I go to one location, you have to drive to 50 different neighborhoods.
Same manager.
I have the same manager. Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is like, if depending on your rentals, you might need to have 2 to 3 plumbers to service all of your rentals across 2 different counties. And you also command less. You have less command over your pricing because you have less volume. My plumbers and stuff, they give me good pricing because I'm like, dude, I got like 36 homes, or I got 60 homes in this neighborhood. Like, you know what I mean? Like, boom. You want my work? Like, here it is. And they know they're going to constantly be busy. And they don't have to drive. My lawn guy, I get better pricing on my lawns than anybody else because, well, he pulls in and he could do 60 lots and he never has to get back in his truck. If he did 60 homes, he's got to get in his truck, and his guys, it would take days to go do 60 houses because he'd have to keep getting in his truck and driving to every home. So like, there's a huge benefit. So that's why I'm saying it's more efficient. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, if we're talking about what is better, what is by any measure better, it's commercial property and not single family. But they do it because it's what they know. It's a golden handcuff. It's here's what I know, and like, hey, these deals are coming in. Why wouldn't I buy them for myself? And it makes sense. But dude, why wouldn't you just go put that same $50K into something else? So like, the minimum investment to get into a commercial real estate syndication is typically $50K. To buy a $200K home at 20% down, which would be required if you're buying an investment property, I mean, you're looking at $40K. So for the same investment, why wouldn't you just go into a syndication and actually make more money and actually have it
be less passive, more passive?
Yeah, exactly. And LPs actually make more than the operators. It's a smarter position to be in. You sit
it's a
back.
Cultural conditional thing.
People want the control. They want to do it. It's an ease of entry. It's the lie we have been told is buying single family houses makes the most sense. That and access. Not everyone has access to commercial real estate syndications. And I think you said it earlier. It's like, it's a mindset thing.
You know, it's funny that proves your point. Have you seen those memes where it's like me at like a young age, like me playing Super Nintendo in first grade instead of buying single family houses for there's all different variations, but those are hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, and I've owned them, and I never. I mean, I had like a couple dozen rentals, right, in my time, and I sold them all. And I wasn't big. I'm not as big as all those guys owning all those rentals. But when I looked at it, and by rentals I mean total units, because there's duplexes and quads that were mixed in there, and triplexes. But it's just like I stopped because I knew it didn't make sense, and I was just like, man, there's got to be a better fucking way than this. And I looked at apartments first. I mean, that was my first option, which is why I started buying duplexes and triplexes. But it's like you have to ask yourself. It's very Hormozy. You have to say, what is the best use of my skill set? Can I do something that makes me more money? Because if our goal is to make money, we need to ask ourselves, is this the best way to make the most money with the skill set that I have? And if buying single family houses is all you're good at, then fine. But I would gather some of these guys are pretty intelligent and skilled. Like some of these wholesalers, man, they're great at building businesses, and like they're obviously they got successful wholesaling. They just are handcuffed to the single family house space. They should really look at something else as a way to diversify.
If the new political regime for the U.S. gets the economy better, will single family houses be a better investment option or no? Or you still see it from interest rates and whatever?
I know I made a caveat that I think you could have gotten rich off of single family houses back then. Well, that was because of the Great Recession. So, Carlos, the only way single family houses become great again is like anything, whether it's a car, a house, gold, any type of asset at all, is when it completely crashes. That's why everyone got rich. You were buying 3,000 square foot homes for
Zach keeps talking about that in one of the episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we were buying houses so freaking cheap. It was unbelievable. So I would take the opposite. If the economy crashes, yes, you can make a shit ton of money buying residential real estate and land and all those things. But again, just because you could get rich doing something doesn't make it the most efficient vehicle. Listen, here's a perfect example. I passed on buying, oh man, it was like a 20-some thousand square foot industrial warehouse in this industrial area of Lakeland that my buddy had when we were doing foreclosures, and he was selling for like $1.50, I think, maybe $1.25 is what it sold for. Very cheap, dude. It was so freaking cheap. And instead, I was over here buying, and I walked in, I was like, man, this is cool, but like, what am I doing with this? You know, what am I doing with 20-some thousand square feet of industrial space? Dude, that property now is worth millions of dollars. Like literally 10 plus X the freaking investment. And you don't have to do it. I'm over here buying rental properties, making $200 a month in cash flow. It's like, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And I look back at that and I completely regret it. And it's like, but the reason why I brought that up is because at the same time houses crash, commercial typically follows after it because there's a longer cycle for default. But it's like, dude, like you could get rich doing anything if you buy it at the cheapest price possible during a downturn. But again, does it make it? In that example, I could have bought houses at the down part, and I could have bought industrial. If I would have bought industrial, I would have been a lot richer than buying the houses. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like what's the most efficient use of your capital and time.
To talk about the market really quick, I haven't seen too much this week except crypto in a significantly dipping.
Not much going on. I mean, obviously the things plummeted. People were worrying about, another recession coming and all that stuff. And there's worries about what's going on in the world. It's a very chaotic situation going on.
Yeah. And what about the drones? Is that you looking for mobiles flying for dollars?
It could be. It could be. It could be, dude. It could be. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I like how Trump came out and pretty much was like, the government knows what it is.
I didn't see that. No comment.
No. Yeah, and then no comment. And he's like, the military knows where they're going, where they're coming from. The government knows who owns them, all that, and they're not telling us. And it's like, honestly, I'm glad I live in Florida because if any place is getting blown up, it's not going to be Florida first. I'm at least going to have a head start to figure out what to do. The first place is getting blown up. I did this with ChatGPT, and I kind of went through like the safest places to live. In Alabama, like in my area, Alabama was one of northeast Alabama, kind of went like a little east of Huntsville, is one of the better places to live in the southeast because it's far enough away from military bases, river or dams that could overflow, as we learned with North Carolina, has access to water, mountains, animals, all kinds of stuff, far enough away from the ocean for flooding or hurricanes. Anyway, and it's like I went through that because I was asking where it would blow up, and it went through all the states with all these military installations and harbors. And you have Tampa and Jacksonville with pretty big harbors, but the first places getting bombed, LA, DC, New York. And then you start going to all the other major hubs like Chicago. All the major metros are going to get blown up first. And then they're going to go to places like in Arkansas and across the Northwest where there's nuclear, like Georgia has a nuclear station, reactor. Those things are going to get attacked. And so like you want to be as far away from all of that as possible. So I was asking ChatGPT, where should I buy land that's within a day's drive? So if I need to bug out, I can get out on one tank of gas, because I was looking at trucks where I could get an extended range tank. And I was like, okay, like how do I get an extended range gas tank? And like, where can I bug out to on that mileage? And like, just grab everyone and go. So, because you'd have to make a decision pretty quick. You'd have like 12 to 24 hours to get somewhere. But yeah, Florida.
Another benefit of renting versus owning a house. If you rented, you could really just bug out and leave the house.
You're bugging out no matter what. Benefit for owning a home is you could put a bunker underneath your house.
There you go.
You pull a Zuckerberg and throw a bunker under there.
There you go.
I mean, that's definitely
20 or 1 month exactly until your boy steps into the office there.
Oh, he's just got to make it, bro.
The 20th.
He's got to make
I did see some, because I love Patrick Bet-David show. So my political stuff is either there, Tim Dillon, random stuff, but they did resurface an old drone video from 3 or 4 years ago, and it might have been from Iran or somebody just showing the power of the drones, but it was like a little one from like Home Alone, like a little truck one. Have you seen that one? I'll have to find this on PBD if you want to see it, but I think it's from Iran showing the power of their drones, and it's literally Florida, and it's like a cartoon, like an animation of this thing driving around. And it goes to a golf course, and it shows a cartoon person, like an animation that looks exactly like Trump with like a red hat on the golf course. And it showed how it could just drive right up to the golf course and had like its scope, its sights on Trump.
Unbelievable. I mean, you could do that with a flying drone, an unmanned. All those things are possible. I think the technology that we have, we don't even understand.
Oh yeah. Dude, there could be aliens and all kinds of stuff going out there.
Yeah, I mean, I tend not to worry about that. What's going to happen is going to happen. I'm just going to mobile home parks. I mean, that's just going to be what I'm going to do. But I was looking. I mean, I was considering, because I was curious. I was like, okay, what does Florida have? Florida doesn't have a lot of stuff to blow up. But, I mean, we're really after natural disasters because of where we're at, like flooding, hurricanes. Like we will, like if those types of things start to happen, we're pretty screwed. They're going to come after our shipping ports. But otherwise, I mean, no one really gives a shit. No one looks at Miami and goes like, that's a fucking threat. They'll probably leave Miami alone and let everyone just get STDs and just like die of syphilis at some point. Like, they probably figure everyone will hop back on a raft and go back to Cuba. But I mean, don't leave it alone. I mean,
or Medellin, go back to Medellin.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, my sneeze. But yeah.
Well, speaking of natural disasters, another thing I didn't write down, but did you see the reports that some of the buildings in Miami Beach are like sinking? Including, we had dinner across from Trump.
I believe
not Trump International, Trump Invitational, one of those.
I believe it.
In like up Sunny Isles.
Our soil is so shit. It's amazing. But again, I guess they planned for that though.
You would think.
Concrete footers. Buried deep, piles buried deep into the Earth's surface. I have no idea. But again, these are probably old buildings. Are they older buildings? There's no way newer buildings are sinking. Yeah. I mean, I would gather that after 50, 60 years or longer of sifting sandy loam soil, like, yeah, I could
see porous material.
Yeah, like I could see that happening. A lot of Florida should not be developed. I saw during the hurricane, like, unless you're in Florida, it just doesn't make sense. But like we have a lot of our stuff is wetlands, and like to fill in our wetlands, like you could buy like wetland credits and stuff to kind of, because you have to have a certain amount of wetlands and all this. So they need permission to like fill these things in. Anyway, long story short, they bring in all this fill dirt and they try to like bring it above flood level. Well, during the Hurricane Milton or whatever, people drove by and there was like, it was in Orlando, and it was like you could see all the scrub brush in the background and the scrub palm tree, like the old palm trees, like the native ones. And it was a big sign like new builds coming, da 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 da. I don't know who it was. It was one of the big builders, and the fucking water was up to the bottom of the sign. We're talking like a big post sign, you know, that are like 5-6 feet in the air. And the entire neighborhood of where they're gonna build these homes is like 5 feet of effing water filled up.
Oh,
And
God.
it's just like, and that's what they're doing, is like, we shouldn't be building homes in a lot of these places, and we
Yeah.
are. And they put them on these swampy, sandy soils. It's like Kissimmee and Buena Vista and all, like up near Kissimmee. Like that's during the recession. Prior to it, they were building them so fast. So like when I was doing the foreclosures for the banks, I mean, every one of them was like falling apart, for settling and cracking. Houses were splitting off because they didn't prep the soil properly, and they built on like swampland. I mean, that area was old, like wetland, swamp, scrub area.
Crazy.
I think people just need to like leave Florida.
Leave Florida?
We've maxed out, bro. Go home. We've
Go
maxed
back.
out. We've maxed
Damn.
out. Like, go home.
Where did people move to after Florida? Texas?
Texas. I think Alabama's in there. I like Alabama a lot. I see Alabama as like they're our people.
Alabama?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've only been there a few times, but like all the people I run into, it's just like, yeah, this is kind of like Florida.
Oh, you got Auburn. You got Auburn
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Georgia is a little iffy just because of Atlanta. Like, you got a lot of, people there. But like, Georgia's good old country. But I wouldn't touch Georgia. I like Alabama, Texas. That's where you'd go. Montana,
I can't do the
Wyoming.
cold.
You're just
Personally,
looking at like
I can't do the
free states. Like, where can you go and just be like wildly free and not
California.
Florida, when I moved down, that was Florida. Florida was pretty rural, and now it's been built pretty bad. But yeah, Texas. Everyone go to Texas. And then
California?
I listen, dude. Like, I love California, but I think California is probably one of the most beautiful states with the most
Really is.
diverse styles of topography. But like, bro, can you ruin a state any more than they have already done? Like, I would never want to even step foot in that state, and it boggles my mind that people choose to live out there. Like that in Colorado, I feel has been ruined too.
Colorado, like, I don't know as much.
We have a house out in Colorado that so back in the day, I wanted to live out there. It's a house. It belongs to the family, not me. But it's like, and I was going to live in it. And then I looked at the economy out there, and there's like nothing. It's, it's outside. It's in Steamboat. Anyway, long story short, we've been renting it out, and I've been managing the rental for like the last decade or so. And like, so I go and I'm looking at doing Airbnb as I was removing the tenant. And I'm like, man, I'm going to do Airbnb. But they put fucking Airbnb. You can't Airbnb the home. They won't let you Airbnb the home in Steamboat. And I think that's wild. I called the city to try to ask, and they said because there's such a shortage of housing inside Steamboat that they've created districts where Airbnb is illegal.
Wow.
So the only thing I could do is like, so what we're going to do is traveling nurses on 13-week schedules, because I could get more that way. But yeah, I mean, but a lot of it, like this very progressive stuff has come to Colorado. Not to mention the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora.
Right. That's what I've most recently heard of.
What happens when you allow this progressiveness to come into a state? Bad things freaking happen. You try coming to Florida and doing that. Sheriff Grady Judd, he'll get your ass, dude. Grady Judd don't fuck around, bro. Like, DeSantis ain't fucking around. And like, I love when people come to Florida knowing who the governor is, knowing who our sheriffs are and like our policies on thing, and then they want to whine and complain about them. It's like, you literally chose to come here full knowledge of who these people are, and now you're complaining. It's like, go back home, dude. Like,
I saw a hilarious meme of when the drone. I guess the drones are still going on. I don't know, whatever. but it was like how Florida people handle drones, and it was like a gator with a balloon and like a gator going up and attacking the drone.
Yeah, dude. I know. You ever watch that Florida guy who's like this? He's got dreads and stuff, and he like does flip phone activated. I forget his name, and he's like, man, some Florida shit, flip phone activated, and it's the funniest shit ever. And he does this wild Florida.
They have him in Grand Theft Auto 6.
Really?
I think he sued Rockstar Games, who makes Grand Theft Auto, because they pretty much put his character in the new Grand Theft Auto coming out next year.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, Florida's Florida, dude. Like that's one of the things I love about Florida. And you know, I know people who dog on what we do here and our policies, and it's like, rather than go somewhere else, like go to California, dude.
Yeah.
But
seriously.
But I would have to, if I were to move, it'd be to one of those types of states. So.
Yeah, I'd probably do it Austin. If it wasn't for the tax, dude, just moving to California because I love San Diego.
Yeah,
just moving out there with the taxes, going from 0 state income tax to 20-something%.
Yeah, you'd be retarded, bro. Like you just
like
be giving it up. You'd just be giving up all your money for what?
Crazy.
For crime, to get like just your ass beat while walking down the street and like just kicking homeless people on your way to work. Like, what are you looking for in California? Like, you just want to be like caught in the middle of a fucking some type of LGBTQ parade that, like, you know, like what's happening? Like, what the fuck is happening out there that you're like, yeah, I want to be in this?
Right.
We got beaches,
dude.
Dude.
Florida.
Yeah. So I had a buddy who left California and he moved to like South Tennessee, and he was complaining because he loves beaches. And I was like, bro, like Florida's got beaches, dude. Like, you're not that far away. Every time I see him on Instagram, he's down at like 30A, like Grayson Beach and all that. He's down because it's like a few hours, so he'll just drive down. And dude, I'm like, there you go, bro. Like, we have beaches too, and our beaches don't have dead people on them.
Why doesn't he move to Florida?
He does like he's a service provider for the music industry in Nashville, Tennessee. So he lives in Tennessee because it's easier for him to get to the people he needs to see. It's a good hub spot because from there he could travel, you know, throughout the states. When you're in California, he used to describe it to me. He's like, being out in California, it's like just to get somewhere, you literally have to travel across half the country. He's like, if I live in the middle, I can get places faster. Which is true if you think about it. It's a much more tedious flight to go from California, even to go home to Pennsylvania. Like that's a whole day, bro. So Tennessee, you could drive, but
shout out ChatGPT for giving specific recommendations on where to go on a tank of gas, extendo range.
Yeah, and then you have to look up the tank. I figure I can get like 900 miles plus, depending on the size tank. And then you can get even more if you do the underneath tank, extend it, and then put one in your truck bed. Because you could put like 100 gallons in your truck bed and then like another like 60, 80 gallons underneath. I mean, bro, you can
drive across the whole country if you fill up your truck bed with gas containers.
Well, they sell them. Like, you know how like the linemen, construction guys, they'll have those big steel tanks in their back with the hose on it so they can fill up their tractors or whatever for diesel and everything. I mean, you just get one of those. People do it, like ATV guys do it. They have those things so they can fill up all their toys and everything. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Get a dually.
You're more prepared than most, I'd say that, BP.
I don't have any of that, so no, I'm not prepared. I am looking into getting it.
Well, that's even more prepared than most.
Have you looked at some of those like armored vehicles? I gotta send you some on Instagram.
I was in your boys. I think I mentioned on one of the weeks. It's not armored, but I was in your boy Esteban Cybertruck. That thing is freaking sick. You don't like the Cybertrucks?
You know, all I'm saying is if there is ever a flag for having a small dick, it's a Cybertruck. Like, it's like, why, dude? Like, why?
You don't like Elon?
I love Elon. I think
Same.
What he's done is amazing. But any guy who's like, I'm getting a Cybertruck, like, dude, can your dick be any fucking smaller? Like, describe to me the reason that you feel you need a Cybertruck. Like, what is it that the Cybertruck does for you? Like, you're not getting more bitches. Like, girls aren't going like, I want your baby when they see you pull up in a Cybertruck. You might sneak up on them with dead silence and scare them a little bit to where they get a little flustered. They're red because they're scared of you creeping on them, not because they're attracted to you. And it's like why? You want to do the work? I mean, you're right. Like it can definitely out torques, like it can be tweaked to really do some work. But when are you going to drain your battery in the middle of a fucking job and then sit in the fucking Wawa parking lot sipping your fucking iced coffee while you wait 3 hours for your Cybertruck?
It's a
Hang
flex
on, guys.
car.
Yeah, like it is. And it's not even a cool flex. Nobody.
What about Joe Rogan driving one?
Joe Rogan do whatever the fuck he wants. And honestly, Joe Rogan's not buying it because it's his only vehicle that he's making the choice on. Joe Rogan's buying it as an addition to his fleet to fuck around in. And there's a difference, right? When regular people like Esteban or anybody else, when you have 1 or 2 cars and you make this decision and you say, I'm going to go spend $100,000 on this small dick mobile. Why? Like, why?
For him, it makes sense for content because he's just omnipresent social media. So him posting all the time.
You could buy any other vehicle. Any other Cybertruck does not scream wealth. Nobody looks at a Cybertruck.
It doesn't. It screams eyeballs, though. The amount of attention they get is crazy. That's an attention mobile. I will give you that.
Would a Ferrari be attention mobile?
Here, a Cybertruck gets more eyeballs than a Ferrari.
Are you kidding me? No way.
Ferraris, dude, I will walk outside and see 5 to 10 Ferraris or any type of exotic car like that.
Go to the White Guys for Harris convention and you could throw a fucking penny and hit a dozen Cybertrucks. They're all driving them, bro. I see so many Cybertrucks.
They're trading them in because Elon's an enemy now.
Well, they're blowing up too. Like I heard, like the coal, like there's different things that like they have issues with. But you're always gonna have problems with the first generation of any vehicle. Again, I got no problem with the Tesla or anything. I'm just saying, okay, my point.
That's so funny.
You have 2 groups of humans in this space: men and women. Okay, there is no real man that looks at a Cybertruck and goes, "Fuck, bro, you're badass, motherfucker." Okay, and there's no woman that looks at a Cybertruck and goes, "Holy shit, I want to have your fucking kids right now." It doesn't fucking happen. You could have any other vehicle, right? You could have a 1971 Hemi fucking Cuda shaker hood, and every guy's gonna be like, "Holy fuck!" They're gonna want to be you, right? Women are gonna look at it and go, "That's a fucking man." Like fucking 454 Chevy Chevelle, something. Driving a fucking truck, dude, a fucking F450 Dually. Dudes are gonna be like, shit. Women are gonna be like, that's a fuck. That guy's gonna fix some of my shit at my homestead.
Oh my god.
The only thing you're doing in a Cybertruck is getting Starbucks, bro. I saw some dude at Lowe's
getting attention. They're attention mobiles.
They're not in the good way, bro.
I'm not saying in a good way or a bad. I'm just saying from a neutral perspective, they get eyeballs.
I agree with you, but not from away, yes. But when you're making that decision, you come from small dick energy or big dick energy. Big dick energy says, I need eyeballs. I'm going to get anything other than a fucking Cybertruck. Small dick energy looks at the Cybertruck and goes, this is fucking cool. Like, I need this like square mobile from the Jetsons. Like, I need to have this. Like, this is what I want. I think I'm cool. Because they're trying to ride, they want to pretend. Because when you buy a Tesla, like you think you're smart, smarter than the average person. You think you're helping people, you're helping the environment, and it's some status symbol. And you're like, I have a Tesla. I have an electric vehicle, and then guess what? I have a home charging port. And you're like, oh fuck, dude! Like you fucking made it, bro. I think again, like if you're, so I digress because like yeah, Teslas are cool. I think having a Tesla as one of your vehicles is a good option. Like it's good to have an electric vehicle. But sitting here saying like, bro, I got myself a bad. No, dude, you didn't. You didn't.
What about you? Wouldn't rock a black on black matte black Tesla Cybertruck?
No. If it was given to me, I would sell it.
Bad. If it was given to you.
There's no reason to have one.
As your daily driver?
There is no reason to have it. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't even help the environment. It causes more damage. Okay, to mine let's not even get into the lithium mining, the cost to make the batteries, all the stuff that goes inside of it. we're not there on the technology, okay? And to
Mhm.
power the ports that you're using usually either a natural gas or some other type of electricity. Where do you think the electricity comes from? Does God just like shoot it down and you're that awesome? God's like, ha, lightning bolt, Tesla charge.
Mhm.
It's coming from Earth. So it's not good for the environment. It doesn't do the work that I need it to do. I don't want to sit for 2 hours and charge. Oh, we'll charge it at home. Bruh, I get you, dude. But inevitably there's going to be a situation where I'm not fully charged. And in order to get somewhere, I got to sit at the fucking parking lot for 45 minutes, wasting my life away because I thought this was a cool choice. There's nothing in it. Now, there's a lot of features that are really cool. The self-driving, the dog mode. Like, I've checked it on. I'm like, oh, man. But, like, I'm not getting work done in that thing. Although I will digress and say that Tucker Carlson went and they did a full test of the Cybertruck, and it's fully capable of doing the workload of a regular like F-150. Like, it could do the workload of your typical quarter-ton truck. It's got the full. A guy used it on his farm. They went out there and interviewed. Like, they did this whole thing. They drove around the farm. It can load. It can do stuff. It can haul. It could tow. It has all of those capabilities. So I'm not saying it's not possible or usable or anything. But why the fuck am I going to choose that over like a fucking like Cummins diesel engine and a fucking Ram 3500 mega cab dually or like an F450 or like even an old Ford truck? Like, why am I choosing this thing? The majority of people that drive them drive around the city as a status symbol. So again, I go back, like if I was going to make a statement, it would be in any other vehicle than a cyber fucking truck.
It's so funny.
And you could tell a lot by somebody by what they choose to make attention with.
That's true.
Like,
That is true.
It's like if you chose a Cybertruck, there's a reason why. I don't really know who you're talking about, but like, yeah, like no self-respecting dude who's got any level of testosterone is like,
Who?
this is what I'm choosing to like really show off.
Esteban or somebody else?
Whoever we're talking about.
Esteban, your boy, has one.
I don't know who we're talking about, but I can picture the personality type of who we're talking about. Who is it?
You know Esteban. He's been on the show before.
Wholesaler?
Yeah. Or he runs ads for wholesalers and remote Latinos.
Oh, the boy band. The boy
You know
band.
Esteban, your boy.
Okay.
If anybody's listening and still needs to get Papa P a Christmas gift, you have a big idea of something.
I do know him, but yeah, okay. I don't really know him, but yes, I get what you're saying. I stand by everything I said.
Oh man, that's funny. So
I
yeah,
couldn't-
any gift ideas for Papa P? Maybe we can do a scan
let's
code
put it
and
this
put some
way.
money together.
Let's put it this way.
Get
Here's
Papa P a Cybertruck.
Here's the
Auburn color Cybertruck, dude. You could drop that. Auburn color Cybertruck.
as your first or second vehicle, anyone who has a Cybertruck, I don't think there's one person that I would say I'm going to war with that person. Like if I had to have you in my group to survive or to like do stuff with, I don't know of anybody who owns a Cybertruck that I'm like, yeah, that guy's on my team.
Trump has one.
They had to take it back, I heard.
Oh, really?
Because it was a political gift that was over some limit. I heard, yeah, because what's his name tried giving it to him?
Aiden Ross.
Yeah, but like I'm pretty sure they had to take it back.
That's so funny.
Anyway,
all
jokes aside, you want to drive a Cybertruck? Go fucking drive a Cybertruck. Like whatever, dude. But just don't pass it off as like I'm doing something. There's infinitely more cool things you could do than spend.
Or other cars.
Yeah. Or a watch that costs as much as the car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like something. A down payment on a fucking mountain log cabin.
Hey, invest into a mobile deal, maybe.
Anything other than
oh man, this is a good pre-Christmas.
You could buy. I'll tell you what. Here's what you do. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The better option. See, this is because he just didn't advise with me first, and you could tell Esteban. I'm looking it up. You should, if you want to grab attention and still be a man, right? And this is so manly. I don't give a shit when I say this. You're gonna be like, "There's no way that's a manly thing," but anybody who sees this, you will get the level of respect and attention. You could go out and buy the Oscar Mayer weenie truck, wrap that in your company logos, and get more attention and respect than you would driving a fucking Cybertruck.
That would get some.
That
That's
would
like
be-
Dumb and Dumber. That's like Dumb and Dumber with the sheepdog mobile. That's kind of just like a
100
one-on-one if you got one of those on the road.
100%. Look, if someone in Bakersfield is selling one, look at that. How much was it selling for? Guarantee it's a lot cheaper. $7,000. I just saved this motherfucker $100,000 for something infinitely more cool. Imagine driving around remote Latinos in a wiener mobile.
That'd be tough.
You would get someone like the Mystery Mobile. Buy the fucking Mystery, the Scooby-Doo Mystery Mobile. Buy a DeLorean. Anything. Not the new DeLorean.
Shelby GT500. I had gone in 60 seconds on randomly last
Bro,
night. That's a sick car.
Buy
1967
Eleanor.
Ford GGP. Yeah, he knows it's good.
Of course I did. I fucking just bought my son. I got the Matchbox things for my son. So we have this thing where when we go to truck stops, he looks at all the truck stops have like the Matchbox diecast cars for sale. And so typically I'll get him something as payment for help. And he's always looking for Eleanor. Because we watched Gone in 60 Seconds, and he can never find Eleanor in any of these truck stops. They have everything else, but not Eleanor. So I got him one for a stocking.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, but it's like, or Santa did. Fuck. But yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean, something like that. Again, like, there's so many other, like, you want to grab attention. It's like, who are you grabbing the attention from? Like, I don't know if anyone, like, I would love to take a poll of young men from the age of 13 to 18 and see how many of them have Cybertrucks hanging on their wall next to a supermodel.
right.
I mean,
I'm curious how the Cybertruck is with the younger.
I don't think it's very
the
well.
younger generation.
I don't think it's very well. I think people think it looks fucking stupid because it does. Nobody thinks it looks good.
Dude, just the regular 2024 Model 3s look sick.
I mean, yeah, I think Teslas are cool. I think they could do some stuff, though. The original Tesla, the Tesla Roadster, was one of the sexiest things. And he's got another one that he was thinking of coming out with, right? That was looking cool.
The S's are sick. I remember I was looking at some S's that still had the free turbocharge. Those look really sleek and cool.
Yeah, the 2026 Roadster. I would drive that. But again, not as a main vehicle and not as like anything, but like if you look at the Tesla Roadster coming out in 2026, I'd drive that all fucking day. You know, it looks cool. You get respect. I mean, that's all kinds of stuff. That you get attention, all those things you want when you buy it. But again, it wouldn't be my main vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take a Porsche over that.
Love Porsche.
I would take a Ferrari Roma over that. I would take an Aston Martin, like Vanquish over that. Like I would take a lot of vehicles over the Tesla. There's something to be said to have the engine. Like just, I don't know, dude.
When Nicolas Cage goes to look at some Ferrari and some dude, the dealer introduced himself as Roger. Goes, that's funny. My name's Roger.
No,
You remember that rant?
Yeah.
He's
And
talking
he's
about the wealthy people have too many. He's like, they have too many of the same Ferraris, but he's trying to find another one. He's like, oh, we don't have one here, but we have one over at the warehouse. He's like, perfect. What else do you have over there?
Yeah, because he was looking for a vintage Ferrari, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's almost how you have to differentiate yourself in this game. Is like when you do it, you have to do vintage or something. But yeah. But anyway, I just don't feel
This is a good episode, guys. We'll be back next week, just John and Brandon.
Yeah, we'll see if we get anyone in the chat calling me out for making fun of Cybertrucks.
That's hilarious. But yeah, guys, have a great week. Have a great Christmas. We'll reconvene then. You guys heard at least one good last minute Christmas gift idea for Papa P. If we can put some money together and get him an Auburn wrapped Cybertruck.
As long as I can sell it, bro, buy a dually.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.